on a ticket for a live event, £17 goes back into its local economy. Sorry, can I ask that you stop recording, please?
No, it's a public meeting. I'm allowed to record.
I thought it was something that we were asked. Okay, £17 goes back into its local economy. What that means is, since reopening, more than £250,000 has gone back into the local economy because of the Princess. So that's quite a lot of pints at the Victoria, that's quite a few meals at the Shah, that's a lot of bottles of water from Hurley's, and there's a few nights at the Clarence's there. So for those who don't understand cultural ecology and the reason to support creative events in your area, I'll give you some little anecdotes, shall we? There's an ageing population in Somerset. Young people leave the area in their droves to seek employment in creative industries. Let's have a look at this. So without grassroots football, you don't get Premiership football. Yeah, there's no Lionel Messi's in the world, there's no Cristiano Ronaldo's, is there? So without grassroots culture, you don't get high-end culture, you don't get creativity, you don't get wonderful shows like Strictly Come Dancing, you don't get those amazing shows like you get on Netflix, and the produced radio that we all listen to. Because I presume everybody listens to radio and watches TV. So that's a little anecdote here for you. So, Highbridge's greatest exploits. A young lad went to school at King Alfred's, albeit for a short period of time. He performed at the Highbridge Festival of the Arts, I believe, Claire, which is obviously one of the key statements that Sharon's kindly read out for us. He moved to Taunton and joined Taunton Thespians, which are an incredible association, and they're based at the Brewhouse and Tacky Morris. Both of which those places are subsidised by the councils that own them. Oh, and a small reference that you might like to take away with you. There's quite a few ATGs who are commercial ventures that are subsidised by their town councils as well. I'll go back to my story. So I met this young man when he was Assistant Artistic Director at the Royal Court Theatre, and for those that don't know, the Royal Court Theatre is a really important part in the world of cultural ecology. He told me that he'd started out in exactly the same way that I did. Went to youth theatres, local youth theatres that were just round the corner from him, and he told me to keep fighting because there was going to be a career out there for me. That man went on to produce and direct Billy Elliot. That man, Stephen Daldry, is the patron of the Highbridge Festival of the Arts. That man now produces and directs The Crown on Netflix. I think that's a pretty good investment in terms of local cultural ecology. So does Burnham Honesty and Highbridge Town Council not think it should be investing in the future of those young people by investing in this cultural asset? I'd also like to let you know some other bits and pieces. So currently, hopefully you'll know this, all the districts in the local area have invested a lot of money as part of the new Unitary Somerset, alongside the Arts Council England, to write a cultural strategy. It's going to be the first strategy that's put in front of the new Unitary Somerset. And they're hoping that that's going to be the first one that is adopted. And as a result of that, it's going to inform the rest of the strategies. So here's a question. When local town councils are investing money in cultural officers or events managers, there's huge investment going into Yeovil in terms of their culture. So you're looking at Westlands and all of the government investments that's going into there and to theirs. And that is all going to become part of Unitary Somerset. They're going to be overseeing that as well. When ACE, Arts Council England, have invested so much money outside of London to assist with economic development and driving the government's levelling up strategy in a way of using culture, do you think now's the time for Burnham Sea and Highbridge Council to pull back on their investment in culture? So, I've read some of the vile vitriol that pours from the keyboard warriors' fingers. Those minority voices, the online abuse from amateur theatre managers that never step foot into the Princess. Why would you listen to them? They're not the target market. That's it.
We need to have a look at the recommendation from the Finance and Resources Committee. I'm now going to throw it open to councillors to make comments, and then we will have to make a decision about how we proceed with that.
answer to you. It's not personal. You're a very sensible person, so don't take it personally. Where did this treble the run rate for income come from exactly? Was there any advice taken? Do you know?
I can't say where that particular, apart from it came from the finance committee, I can't tell you where its origin was.
So it
And
sounds
anybody
like
else,
it's sorry.
put some light on that, sorry.
So it could have been just plucked out the air, basically. And somebody in this room that actually said right at the start when Becky was employed, he said, if anybody can turn the theatre around, she can. So what's changed now? Did we give Becky a chance? No, we didn't. Becky arrived for 2 months and COVID came and we had to shut the theatre for a long, long time. Hence no income came in. Now we've just started reopening again, the audiences are coming back. Did we give Becky a chance? No, we didn't. A few, I won't be rude, individuals on forums actually voice their opinion and pretend that the whole town is against the theatre. It's not. It's a few tiny minority people with loud voices that like stirring the public up and like putting the headlines on BurnmonSea.com and in the papers. Right. Did we give Becky a chance? No, we didn't. Did we go to her and say what's realistic? Did we take it to a princess management committee and say, any chance of telling us how you can possibly increase the income in this theatre? We didn't do that. We put out a public, the new controlling Liberal Democrat group put out a public statement, the FNR committee, saying, treble the run rate for income, or basically, well, we're not going to quite sure where you're going to go, Becky. It's targeting employees, and that was quite disgusting, and you've got your just desserts, I'm afraid. We've lost one of the most magnificent employees on the planet, and I'm really, really sad about that. There's lots of issues with this. There's no timescales given about tripling income. We could probably triple it quite easily in 20 years' time, but it was a threat, and a horrible threat to our employees, and it was wrong. And I'll reserve my right to carry on a little bit later if that's okay. Those were the questions and comments I had.
Does anybody else have any other comments?
Thank you, Chairman. I must admit, I only saw this minute from the Finance Resources meeting yesterday or the day before, I can't remember exactly, and I was totally surprised at it. I find the whole thing totally crass, insensitive, and showing a lack of understanding of what a local theatre is. The Princess Theatre is a community asset. It is not, and never will be, under any circumstances, income generator. If you look at all the other theatres in the area, and including the Playhouse at Weston, as big and as large and successful as the Playhouse is, it would not survive if it was not for large government subsidies. And from government, from North Somerset Council, from Weston Council, it would not survive without that help. I find I cannot agree with the recommendations of the Finance Committee to actually demand that the run rate is trebled. Is totally unrealistic. It will never ever be achieved. Yes, you can create a plan. Anybody can create a business plan to treble their business, but is it going to work? No. Is it going to be achieved? No. Becky has put forward it will come forward in the budget in a minute that doubling it is realistic, but I can accept. Treble, No, I'm sorry, it's dead. And on the back of this, I just wish we could persuade Becky to reconsider her position and stay on. But, and looking at some of the points that Anne has raised, she's put here, there's no timeline given for this. There isn't. It's totally, it makes it unrealistic. What's the outcome if officers find it unrealistic and it doesn't work? What happens if we set a travel income and we don't achieve it? Nothing there about that. The whirling plan must be in place for the financial year. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can create a financial plan. Yeah, I could put one in, I could write one up tomorrow. 10 million, we're going to make 10 million pounds in the next year. Ain't gonna happen. We all know that. So I'm sorry, I cannot agree with the recommendations of the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Murphy?
I'll say a few words. It's difficult to say a few words because obviously the emotions are high. And I am sorry that Becky has resigned. That wasn't in my plan. I have to say, it was quite a shock to plan with that. I got an email from somebody who told me that. I just can't quite believe it. First of all, I have to say that I am sorry in some respects that it became evident to me and to others that the focus on budgetary control and budgetary targets did not appear. Didn't appear to be a major focus when Becky spoke about things. There was some storytelling and some shaping and some trying to get us to understand, you know, the community aspects, the art aspects, the various aspects which we would have expected as normal. But there was no sort of focus, and I think I said at the time, there was no focus, in my opinion, on what would be a basic standard budgetary approach to running a business. Now I'm slightly different. I used to have the adage, and this is for Roger, I'm living in this, and we always used to say in business, you can shave the hairs of a gooseberry. If you picture that, shave the hairs of a gooseberry and try and turn it into a grape. You will not get there because it's just not physically possible, but you will get very close as you can. Well, there you go. A lot of something to entertain you. And that is, it alludes to budget setting. And this is my answer to Roger. Roger says this is dreadful, you're not going to do that challenge, you're not doing anything. But the basic fundamental when you're running a business, whether it's whatever business it is you have to have targets. You have to set yourself targets, you have to analyze, you have to list it down, you have to look at it, you have to motivate others to try and achieve it, you have to work hard to achieve it. I used to run businesses in Scotland, and businesses were making losses, and I was turning them into profits. And I used to go home in the evenings at the end of the month, and I was always working late. And my wife said to me, "How did you get on this month?" I said, "Great, we had a great one. But why are you looking so sad?" "I'm worried about next month. I can't seem to think how I'm going to make it. I can't quite get it around my head. I've got to try and find new markets, new places, new people, new things." And I don't think that attitude prevails, or has prevailed, in the princess. And it may not be anybody's fault. We're not here to blame anybody. I mean, we are here because we've had resignation, and we are here to try and find out where we go from here.
No, we're not here. We're not here about that at all.
Okay, sorry, we're here, but I'm sorry. It came at the time there. I apologize, wrong statement. I take that back, I'm sorry. That was there before, that was happening between times. As far as I'm concerned, the budget that we need to achieve, that I believe came from the Finance and Resources Committee, was a very straightforward, written by a person who is a chartered accountant, who would look at what the costs were and see just what we had to do to achieve it. Very simple. I mean, it's quite simple, isn't it? If you have a turnover and you have a cost of such and such, the only thing you could suggest is that we will somehow either have to cut our costs or treble our income, or double our income, or do something for our income to make it somehow become a profitable enterprise, or become an enterprise that gets close to profit, or has a working loss that we can accept. But at this stage, we have a working loss that we find unacceptable. That's what's happened to us. Suddenly we waking up to a loss of 194,000. We think it's not acceptable. As a committee, we think it's not acceptable. Now, if we can go through this process again and find it is acceptable, that maybe it's acceptable to the people of Burnham-on-Sea and Highbridge that they can spend X amount per person and it's fine, then we can go forward with that. I mean, I think at the moment we're suggesting that we would have a partially acceptable budget, and that budget would be worked on. And we would then look at what team we would have to create to make it work, and to get grants, and to do all the things that have been mentioned in the past. And so it's not about trying to reinvent the wheel, it's about having to look at how the business would work in the context of acceptability to the local community as well. You heard the appeal from the woman who, I'm sorry, I apologise, I don't know your name, but I beg your pardon, I couldn't remember your name. Lorna. You heard Lorna, my God, Lorna, double Lorna, Antoine Lorna. And I heard your emotional appeal and also your practical appeal. It's obviously coming from a passion of years of pantomime. And I've been to see your pantomimes, and I love your pantomimes. I think they're absolutely fantastic. And I want to keep that, and there's no reason, nobody's suggesting you can't keep it. We're not here to close the princess.
No, I think what we've got to do though, Mike, is we've got to look at the F&R recommendation and we have to agree or disagree with whether this is a practical goal for the princess.
Well, that's
the budget which we're going to look at in a moment.
Right.
But what we've got to consider is the recommendation that has been put forward by the F&R, which is to take a robust plan to triple the income.
Well, I don't think that's possible on an evening such as this. Make a robust plan to make it.
No. We're answering the recommendation. So let's take it a little bit by bit. First of all, we've been asked what the time scale of this should be. So that's for us to decide. Yes. Okay. Right. On my advice of the town clerk, I need to ask everyone if we agree with the recommendation from the F&R as a princess. Does anyone wish to propose that we accept the recommendation from the F&R committee?
That we treble?
Yeah.
No, I can't accept that.
Okay, so we've got nobody here who wants to support that as
No, I can only say that at this stage in the game, for someone to suggest that we would, out of thin air, triple the income of the princess might be a bridge too far.
Right, so we have nobody who wishes to support that then. Okay?
I wish to support it because I believe it's achievable. I believe it is achievable. We've got to change the business model of the princess. That is clear. Okay? I've been to the princess and watched 3 shows since I've been a member of the council. Only a part of what I've spent in that theatre goes back into that theatre. That needs to change. Everybody, those people I went with, they're buying merchandise, they're buying drinks, they're buying everything. None of that really goes back into the theatre. That goes elsewhere. You know, that's not thing. So to regenerate income when people are in there on the seas. Another way we've got to try and generate is using it for different activities. We've got to look at the activities, any activity that comes in there, any way we can make that hall work. That space, not just a theatre, a space. It's a space that we can make work and we can generate income from this space. And I think that we can, if we put our minds to it, get to its income up three times it is at the moment. It's not going to be easy, we might have to spend a little bit more money to do it, but we can do it. It's something that's out there. There's business plans, there's other theatres that have adapted and used the facility in a lot different way. We've got to look at what the town needs and what it requires and work on those lines, but three times in.
So James, are you proposing that we accept this, the specific bit about the trebling the income? I mean, I think there are different parts to this because they're also asking us to develop a robust plan for the business, which could still be considered if we didn't look at trebling the run rate. What do you want to propose?
I propose that we can say we need to travel along. We need to improve the run rate, yes. Is three times achievable? Probably not, like I just said, it's probably not achievable at this present moment in time. But we can work at getting the run rate better. We can get it to 2%, we can get it to 2.5 times. Three, but what, like I said, it's what time scale. If you're expecting it tomorrow, it ain't gonna happen.
Roger, did you want to speak?
Proposing a second.
Are we taking this item 1, 2 and 3 separately?
Yeah. Yes.
Then in that case, I find item, we are talking about item 1 with the treble the run rate, yes?
Yes, that's the
In that case, I cannot agree with it.
You can't do that.
I cannot agree with it.
So, is anybody going to oppose it? No,
No.
this is, no,
No.
no, so therefore we cannot accept it. Okay. So there was no support from the PMC for this recommendation.
We can accept alternatives, of course.
We can, yes, we can propose alternatives.
I think listening to, if I may speak on this,
Yeah,
listening to Roger and Jim, they both have value. I personally think that a viable, attainable, with difficulty, would be to at least double the income. We could, that would be something that would be part of doubling the income by doing the things Jim suggested and by doing the things Roger suggested. But forgetting
Timescale.
I believe that we put in her budget that doubling it was achievable. Am I right in saying that?
If you have a look at the budget, I think you can see that we've already increased it from what was originally suggested anyway. So I think it is achievable, but I would question how you're going to do it when your business development officer is your key fundraiser is no longer on your payroll.
I don't think that's the point that we should be considering.
I think it is a point that you should be making, because one of the key points that you're trying to answer here is the fact that you're wanting to reduce the subsidy that you give to the princess.
I don't think it's a question of reducing the subsidy, it's trying to make the operational budget reasonable and achievable. That's what we're trying to do. I think if we can somehow come to a rationale where we're looking at every aspect of the princess, I mean, I appreciate that during the time you hung in here, you've been successful and I think remarkably successful at
100%
fundraising.
successful.
At fundraising. And I think that is something that we can actually, we could, with great difficulty, we don't have your expertise, but we have expertise in other areas where I'm sure we could achieve something in fundraising. It would be a sorry day that we didn't have you there guiding us because you're an expert at that, but I'm certain that no, these are proposal and we can do it.
Right, I think that I would like to make a proposal then. I'm looking at the wording of the first part where it says that we tasked to develop a robust plan and treble the run rate. I want to take out treble the run rate and say that officers should be tasked to develop a robust plan that would increase income in order to demonstrate the value of the theatre as a community asset.
I'm happy to second that.
Although, yeah, and then just the last little bit of that one, it says, although the detailed plan is unlikely to be available at the time the council's budget is finalised, the plan must be in place. I'm going to say that we will aim to have it in place. We have to acknowledge that we will not have a VDO for a little while, so we must take that into account. But we will endeavour to have a new plan.
Sharon, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's very important that you take into account that you're saying you're asking officers to develop a robust plan. You might want to figure out which officers, because the skill set at the theatre are very much about running the theatre in terms of operations.
Well, hence why I say about endeavouring to make it in place, because I do understand that we may not have the expertise to implement it. So that would be my proposal, that we amend the recommendation to one that we think is going to be workable, which I think is summing up the sense of what everybody's thinking on Princess Committee.
Can I add an amendment, possibly?
Yeah.
And that we apologise in writing to the business development officer and
I think that might be a different proposal. Can we just focus on this one, because this is the sticky wicket and I want to get this one done.
I think, Chairman, maybe, the last, sorry, I think the last few words, where it says, the council, a plan must be in place, before the start of the new financial year in April. That may not be possible, and I think perhaps that should be amended to as soon as is practicable.
Well, I think we've got to endeavour to have it in place. I think we're going to try, but
It'll take out less and endeavour to would be acceptable, I believe.
all right. So we've had a proposal from Councillor Clayton. Do I have a second for that? Yes. Mr. Murphy, sorry. Oh, sorry, I proposed it. I proposed it, Peter seconded it. Can I please have a vote? Everybody in favour, please? Thank you. Anybody against? No. Right, okay. Phew, everything else should be really straightforward. Right, let's go. Okay, so that was the first part of the consideration. The second part was about the budget, which we're going to come to. The third bit is to undertake a strategic review for the long-term plan. I think it's part of what we've just talked about. Everybody agree with that? Okay. So that, I think, deals with that item. I've got so many scribbly bits of paper. Right, so that's it. So that was to consider. So that was item 56, and now we're going to go on to number 57, which is to consider the revised draft Princess budget for 23-24.
Could I ask for another raise my voice? I thought that was in the last section. Because that's the recommendation. That was the recommendations from the FMR. And I think this would be an addition to that. I think it was handled very badly, and I think the apology in writing should be sent to Becky. And she is the only person that could achieve all this in a short space of time, and she should ask to be come back.
Is that a proposal? You think there's no second yet?
I don't see going
If not, I don't think, I'm sorry, but I don't think it can be voted on that because it's not on the agenda. I'm sorry, I take your point, Councillor Clayton, it will be noted, but I don't think we can vote on that one. Right, so we're going to move on to item 57 and to consider the revised draft Princess budget for 23-24. So we will all have had a copy of the revised budget. Would you like to just talk through some of the amendments that have been made, please?
Yeah, I worked through with our programme and marketing officer, and we put together some strategies in terms of being able to raise the income in terms of hires, and certainly in terms of the box office revenue. The merchandise, which you touched on there, James, you had some ice creams to trouble with. The participation side of things have also upped. And the PV sales is something that we're looking to reinstate at the moment. As you all know, the money, we were advised by the recent access report, not access report, the energy report, sorry, that advised us that it would be wiser to reinstate the PV sales to what they were. So that's something that I'm working with the insurance company on. I think that they were going to have that done before the start of the new tax year. We took down some of the cleaning budget, and we were able to have a more accurate understanding of the licences, because we've actually used different spaces now in terms of what we have in front of house music. Let's see what else is there. And we lowered the staff training budget.
Thank you very much, Becky, for the work that's been done on this to try and increase the income and reduce the expenditure for next year's budget. Does anybody have any questions about any of those figures? You've had time to have a look at it. There's no questions. Okay. So can I ask if anyone would like to propose that we accept this budget to go through to the F&R meeting in January? Okay. Yeah. Mr. Murphy and then Councillor Keane. And can we please vote on whether we accept the proposed budget? All in favour? Thank you. All against? No. Okay. Thank you. Right, so that is the end of our agenda. However, we have to, well, I have to address the fact that our business development officer, Becky, has decided to resign, and I'm just going to say that I'm very sad that Becky has decided to leave this job. She's been with us for just over 3 years and has steered the theatre through some very difficult and challenging times, and that's seen the closure of many arts venues. During her tenure, she secured grants which have improved the Princess and Theatre and Arts Centre, and it's a very special place for many different users in our community, and I'm very pleased that so many of you have taken the time to come here today to express what it means to you. So thank you, Becky, for your efforts, and we wish you a successful future. I don't know if anyone else would like to make any closing comments. Can I ask them to do it? Yeah, anyone would like to make some closing comments?
It's incredibly sad for me. I think Becky's outstanding. Very, very sad loss. And if there's any way,
Maybe that's something for outside of this meeting. Anybody else like to say anything? Okay. Well, in that case, the meeting is ended. Thank you.